This is the Alden Report.
All right. Well, today's episode is brought to you by Be at Your Disposal Dumpster Rental Service. With over 20 plus years in the dumpster rental service industry, a family-owned business, a business that you can trust. If you're in Southern Maine, if you're in York County, if you're in Cumberland County and you need to rent a dumpster, maybe you've done some home repairs, maybe you've done, some home renovations, maybe you're a contractor, maybe you just got some junk and you want to rent a dumpster, reach out to the guys at Be at Your Disposal Dumpster Rental Service. Again, with over 20 plus years in the industry, they are a company that you can trust. Give them a call at 207-891-6012. That's 207-891-6012. Tell them Mike Alden sent you.
This is the Alden Report.
All right. Well, my name is Mike Alden, and we are here in Blue Vase Studios. And as always, when I start out this podcast, I always talk about how excited I am for my next guest. There are people in this world that are doing great things. There are people in this world that are influential, and then there are people that continue to change people's lives all over the world, not only with what they say, but what they do and what they write. My next guest is Bob Burg. Bob is the co-author of The Go-Giver and also Endless Referrals. He's a keynote speaker. He's a business coach. He's worked with some of the biggest companies in the world and shows them how to add value to other people's lives to ultimately kind of get what you want with your life as well. So please help me welcome Mr. Bob Burg. Bob, thanks so much for being my guest.
Oh, my pleasure, Mike. Great to be with you.
So, one of the books that changed my life was The Go-Getter, right? What's that? Yeah. Exactly. So my company, my first company is called Blue Vase Marketing, based off of
course, exactly. Yeah.
And so, and that's such a great book, and it really kind of defines who we are as a culture. And then, The Go-Giver is such an amazing book as well. Tell me a little bit about, well, first, if you could, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'd love to just kind of hear about your background, how you got to that point where first you had Endless Referrals, I believe was the first one, right? And then The Go-Giver. I'd love to just kind of hear the genesis of how you got to those.
Well, I began my business career, I guess, as a broadcaster, first on radio and then television. And then I quickly graduated into sales, really learned about sales and personal development and became a pretty good sales guy, and eventually sales manager of a company, and began breaking out on my own and teaching others how to do the same. So I began speaking on the topic and eventually wrote the book Endless Referrals after I'd been speaking for about 3 or 4 years, I guess. And some friends of mine had told me that I really needed to write a book in order to help position me in the marketplace better, be able to sell my services, my speaking services better, get higher fees, make myself more desirable, I guess, in terms of as a speaker. And they were right. I mean, it was a great positioning tool and it worked out really well. Had a few others between then and The Go-Giver, but I'd always enjoyed, and the Endless Referrals, by the way, was simply a book. It was a how-to book for entrepreneurs and salespeople who knew they had a great product or service. They knew it brought fantastic value to others, but they may not have been confident or comfortable going out into their local marketplace, their local communities, and developing those relationships that would cause people to want to do business with them directly and refer them to others. So Endless Referrals was basically a system for doing so. What's a system? Well, really a system is simply the process of predictably achieving a goal based on a logical and specific set of how-to principles. If it's been proven that by doing A, you'll get the desired results of B, then you know that all you need to do is A and continue to do A and continue to do A, and eventually you'll get the desired result of B. So it was a system for doing so that had worked for me when I was in sales. But I'd always loved parables and loved reading parables. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could take the basic idea, the basic premise of Endless Referrals, which was that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust, and put that into a parable form. So I asked a guy by the name of John David Mann, who at the time was editor-in-chief of a magazine I used to write for. I used to submit monthly articles, and he was my editor. And back then, he wasn't well known to the general book marketplace, but in his niche, he was very well respected, very well known. And I knew he was a genius as a writer. And so I asked him to be the lead writer and, co-author, lead writer, lead storyteller for the book, since it was a parable and I'm a how-to guy. Okay. So that's really how the Go-Giver came about. The premise of the Go-Giver is simply that shifting your focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others, is not only a more fulfilling way of conducting business, it's the most financially profitable way as well. Not for some way out there, woo-woo, magical, mystical type of reason, but it makes actual rational sense, logical sense. When you're that person who can take your focus off of yourself and place it on discovering what the other person needs, wants, desires, the focusing on helping them overcome their problems and challenges, helping bring them closer to happiness, people feel good about you. They want to get to know you. They like you, they trust you, they want to do business with you directly and tell others about you. But Mike, can I address for a moment the go-getter?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
People have often asked, because The Go-Getter by Peter Kind is one of my all-time favorite books. And so people have often asked, well, so the title, The Go-Giver, are you and John saying that being a go-getter is a bad thing? Absolutely not. We love go-getters. Why? Because go-getters take action. They get things done. We're all business people, and one thing we all know and have learned very quickly is that the greatest, you can have the greatest ideas, the nicest thoughts, the best of intention, but unless action is put into the mix, nothing's going to happen. So we want people to be go-getters, people of action, and go-givers, people whose focus is on bringing immense value to others. We would say the opposite of a go-giver is not a go-getter. The opposite of a go-giver is a go-taker. That's that person who feels entitled, if you will, to take without adding value to the other person, to the process, to the situation. So be a go-getter and a go-giver. Just don't be a go-taker.
I like it. It makes a lot of sense. It's interesting to me when, I'm listening to you speak, and I've watched some of your speeches and heard you on Clubhouse. That's where we kind of I reached out to you, and I'm a proponent of everything you're saying, right? And a lot of people, when I feel like there's a lot of disingenuousness within that concept of adding value. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily believe what they're saying, right? I think they say, "Oh, I just want to offer value," but in their head, all they're trying to do is get to the point where they can take. Does that make sense to you? Do you see a lot of that happening in the world?
Oh, sure. That's human nature to a certain point. And people have been taught that that's the way to do it and so forth. So, people are where they are at a certain point. And, you try to put a message out there and try to share with people a way of doing things. And those people who are going to be open to the idea and who embrace it, will generally pick up on it. And then there's a lot of people, Mike, who I think they really want to know. And I think this is one reason why the book did well, is that they wanted to know that you could be someone who brought great value to the world, to others, and do very well financially, that it's not an either or. In fact, the free market system, and when I say free market, I simply mean no one's forced to do business with anyone else. Okay. The free market system is based on the idea that, nobody's going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet. They're not going to buy from you because you need the money, you have a mortgage payment, or even because you're just a nice person. They're going to buy from you because they believe that they will be better off by doing so than by not doing so. So when you think about it, again, logically, doesn't it make sense that that person who genuinely wants to help that other person, to provide them with immense value, that's the person who creates that environment for the sale to take place? It's why John and I say that money is simply an echo of value. right? And
Right.
so when people understand that, see, I think most people, as human beings, I think we want to feel as though we're making a difference. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We want to, and as entrepreneurs and salespeople, we express this value. This, when I talk about value, of the values we hold, we express this through our work. So that's why, I mean, are there those people? Of course there are, absolutely. And that's why what we want to do is help change that and bring the world over to kind of this way where it's not a sum zero game, where
Sure.
1 + 1 = 3.
Where's the balance though, where there's a lot of giving people out there, right? And I think of like a mom, right? So how a mom just gives and gives because that's like her like biological kind of duty in essence, right? And to give to her family and to give to her children, and I think about that kind of the social dynamic within the family. But then I think of it on a more of a macro level, where you have people that are super giving, but to their own detriment, right? So what do you say to those people as well? And how can you tell that you're one of those people that where you're just, is there such a thing of giving too much?
It's not that it's giving too much, okay? It's that you're giving in a way that is counterproductive. And so, but not too much. Here's and let me explain this, because I think what you bring up is such a powerful point, and it's so very important. First, there is nothing about being a go-giver that is congruent with being a doormat, a martyr, or self-sacrificial in any
Sure.
way. Okay. Being a go-giver simply means you understand the concept of focusing on providing value to others. Okay. And why that is a benevolent and productive and profitable way of doing business. Okay. So here's what I suggest to people. If you're a person who finds yourself constantly being taken advantage of, I'm not talking about once or twice or every so often. I mean, you live life. Sometimes it's going to happen, and unless you just don't talk to anybody. Okay. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a person who finds himself in a pattern of being taken advantage of. Okay. If you're that person, first understand that you're not being taken advantage of because you're nice or because you're giving. You're being taken advantage of because you're doing things in a certain way that create the environment for you to be taken advantage of. And
Right.
the only person involved in every one of those incidents is you.
How do you know? Like, so how do you know that? Because when I think about, see, I grew up really tough. I grew up in the projects, grew up nothing, surrounded by crime, drugs, violence, and, electricity being shut off and, in just absolute despair. And there are much worse situations than mine. But when I think about people now that are struggling, and they want to, break through, so to speak, they want to excel, they want to get to the next level. How does someone like that, right, who's already struggling with their own stuff, help others? To me, it's hard to kind of wrap your head around it, I think.
Okay, so first, and let me go back to the the person who's with the taken advantage of.
Right.
If this is you, you need to stop doing that. And one way to stop doing that, because you ask, well, how do you know if that's, well, so by asking yourself if that's you, that's the first step. See, if you recognize, when I say that about being taken advantage of all constantly as a pattern, if you're recognizing that that's you, great. Congratulations, because that's the first step to overcoming it, recognizing it. Now you've got to ask yourself the question, why is this happening? Okay, what am I doing? What am I putting out there? What am I accepting of life and of others that's creating this? What is the payoff for me? And by the way, there is a payoff. It's unconscious, but there's a payoff. Is the payoff that you want to be able to feel like a victim because you can? I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying it with some people it is, that so that you can tell other people, oh, look at me, I give so much and all people do is take it. And that's your way of kind of getting sympathy from others and positive reinforcement. I don't know. Okay. Is it that you don't have the tools to be able to say no when someone asks you to do something that you know isn't something you want to do? I don't know. Is it that you are putting yourself in that situation? There could be 10, 15 other reasons. And again, I don't know because I don't know the person. Okay. But you've got to ask yourself, what is that reason? What is that payoff? And you've got to catch yourself. You've got to catch yourself when this is about to happen and start checking your premises and asking, why am I saying yes? Why am I giving money to this person when this person has shown time and again they're not responsible and they're not going to pay back? Or why am I doing this? So to the degree you do that and start really looking at yourself and what's within your belief system that says you should be going through this. Okay. Once you can dig deeper and discover this, now you're in a position to not be taken advantage of just for the sake of being taken. Again, life is life, things are going to happen, but you're in a totally different position. Now, when you ask the question, what about someone who comes into business and they don't have much to give? Okay. We all have something to give. It doesn't necessarily mean it's money. Okay.
Sure.
But we're able to lend an ear to somebody. We're able to do some manual labor, physical work to help someone. We're able to provide some advice in a topic that we know something about. We're able to introduce someone to someone else. We're able to, whatever it is that we do for a living, be able to provide value in that way. There's many things we can do to provide value to others, what we would call giving to others. But what we don't want to do is get caught up in I don't have anything to give. I'm sure you do. Just don't overthink it. Just whatever you can do to make yourself of value to another human being, that's what you do.
Makes a lot of sense. In a second, I want to talk to you a little bit about this know, like, and trust, and how that can help people as well. Folks, we're on with Bob Burg. Bob is the co-author of The Go-Getter and the Go-Getter series as well. He's also the author of Endless Referrals. He's one of the top speakers in the world. He works with some of the biggest companies in the world, companies like GE, Aflac, New York Life, Remax, UBS, and those are just a couple of them. If you'd like some more information about Bob or you want to work with Bob, you can just go to Berg.com. Pretty simple, Burg.com. You can also check him out on Instagram, Real Bob Burg. But again, if you really kind of want to get into within his ecosystem, just go to Berg.com, Burg. Really simple. And you can you check out his books. You can work with him directly as well. He's got a blog. He also has his own podcast called The Go Giver as well. So again, he's really out there doing some stuff. And what I really love about Bob is he truly lives this life, right? This is why we have people like Bob on. We have real people doing real stuff, making a real impact on the world. So again, if you want some more information about Bob, just go to Berg.com, Burg.com. All right. Well, today's episode is brought to you by Be at Your Disposal Dumpster Rental Service. With over 20 plus years in the dumpster rental service industry, a family-owned business, a business that you can trust. If you're in Southern Maine, if you're in York County, if you're in Cumberland County and you need to rent a dumpster, maybe you've done some home repairs, maybe you've done, some home renovations, maybe you're a contractor, maybe you just got some junk and you want to rent a dumpster, reach out to the guys at Be at Your Disposal Dumpster Rental Service. Again, with over 20 plus years in the industry, they are a company that you can trust. Give them a call at 207-891-6012. That's 207-891-6012. Tell them Mike Alden sent you. So Bob, know, like, and trust, as someone who's been in sales pretty much my whole life since I was a kid and not even really necessarily realizing it, right? When I'm selling lemonade and, and selling my services and shoveling the driveways and lawns and things like that, what I found and what's made me successful, I think a lot of times is exactly with this concept of know, like, and trust. Tell us a little bit about why that is so important. And I think it's one of those, pillars of success that I think a lot of people need to understand.
Yeah. So, you take it in order of the three. Do people have to know you or at least know of you to do business with you? Well, sure. Otherwise, how could they do business with you? So that, that part pretty much that is kind of self-explanatory. The like part, do people have to like you? They don't have to like you, especially if you're the only one in your field. but you're probably not. and even then, no, they don't have to like you. But again, remember, all things being equal is at the top of that same. So we're saying that in this case, there are a number of people who they could be doing business with, whose product is as good. The products are just about as good as each other. They don't know what the difference is. The prices are pretty equal. Pretty much all things are equal. Okay. They know you, they like you. If all other things are equal, they're going to go with the person they like as opposed to the person they don't like as much. Trust is the big one, though. I mean, they're all big, okay? But trust is the real differentiator, because we live in what could be called a very low trust society, right? The good news about that, though, is that person who can very quickly and sustainably establish trust, their trustworthiness, their worthiness of being trusted, that person's really 9 steps ahead of the game in a 10-step game. So when we say all things being equal or close enough to equal, people will do business with those people and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. It really is, it's as simple as that. Now, they can know, like, and trust you, but if you're not able to give them what they need, if they need the order in 10 days and you can't get it to them before 30 days, well, all things aren't equal and you're not going to get the business. If you're 2 hours away from them and they want someone who's no more than 15 minutes away, well, all things aren't equal. So you're probably not going to get the business. So that doesn't mean that because they know, like, and trust you, there's a guarantee, but it means that all other things being equal or close enough to it, that person they know, like, and trust is going to get the business.
Yeah, I'm an attorney by trade, and I've worked with attorneys all over the country in different law firms. And one interesting thing that I learned pretty quickly is that some attorneys jump from law firm to law firm, and one of the things that makes people nervous sometimes, like, oh man, if he was with this law firm, then I don't know, do I stay with the law firm? What I found is that people, they don't care about the business really necessarily. It's about the relationships, the people that they know, like, and trust, right? So they could go anywhere and do whatever it is, but they know, like, and trust that person. So that relationship capital is so crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. People buy from other people, not from companies.
Yeah. It's as I was listening to you again, think about that. Like, so let me ask you this: what's your? I know we don't have a ton of time. Again, thanks for just being here and spending the time with you. I
appreciate it. Thank you.
In this referral economy that we're kind of in now, what's your thoughts on referrals and getting something for that referral? Right. So I, in pretty much my entire professional career, I'm always referring stuff out. Right. And this one, that one, this one, that one. I'll tell you one. Just one recently. So I run a room on Clubhouse, right, called Bestseller Secrets and whatever. And I'm referring people all day long to authors, to publishers, publicists, all this other thing. And I connected 2 people, and a 6-figure deal happened, right? And it was actually an additional referral. So 2 people connected. One of the guys referred the other guy out. One guy made 6 figures. The guy that referred out didn't get anything. And he was kind of perturbed with it. And I'm like, well, I kind of get it in a way. So what are your thoughts on that? Because in this affiliate marketing world that we're in right now too, right? On Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, like, it's this whole gig economy, this whole creator economy is kind of based off of essentially referrals, right? So you come on the podcast, I'm gonna maybe pop some ads in, and I might have some business that I'm a fan of, and they enter in a code, and I'm essentially going to get paid for that, right? What's your thoughts on how people are conducting these referrals in the current environment that we live in?
Okay. So it's a great question. And I think it really depends on the situation and the context. Okay. So all things being equal, I would say that, you'd refer someone because you refer them, and that's an ecosystem that goes back and forth, and you refer people who like, and trust to people like, and trust, and all things. It's great. Okay. And that way there wouldn't be a monetary reward for it. Someone might give you a gift because they really appreciate it or whatever, or what have you. But that's just one area. Now let's go to what you're talking about, though. And this is where referrals hold a different meaning, because that is part of the actual commodity that everyone is dealing with, especially when you talk about in a more formal way, the affiliateships. Okay. But even if not, if a person is, as part of what they're doing, they are connecting people with others with the knowledge there. If let's put it this way, Mike, if they're brokering a relationship, sure, then absolutely. But it should be known up front that that's the case. And that's where I think it gets a little touchy, right? If you don't, if you haven't said anything up front, you're just connecting two people, well, right? But if you're going to be doing it in a way that some of these things are going to be put together, it's for that reason of a possible business deal that could be very lucrative for the people involved, then sure, you're a broker in this case, and you're letting them know that's upfront. Everyone understands going in, and to me, that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes you do these deals, and it happens all the time. Where I work with brokers all the time. The brokers are pretty. I mean, it's their business, so they're pretty. Open. Sometimes brokers will say, "Look, I'm getting the piece on both sides." As long as everybody knows that's cool.
As long as everyone knows and people do it, that's free market. That's people knowing, and they have a choice to say no.
Right.
That's fine. Sure.
So again, I know we don't have a ton more time with you, but one question I think that I have is first of all, obviously I'm a believer in everything that you're talking about, and I'm a believer in adding value, and I see it. I've seen it happen to me, but what is it a universal law essentially to the world of success in just living a fulfilled life, that if you follow the principle of providing exceptional value, that you will in fact get extraordinary results? And then is there a time frame? Because I think because we're so impatient, we're all like, oh man, I'm giving all this value, but I'm not seeing anything in return. Like what? I guess we're like, what should people expect? How does it work, Bob?
Well, I'd say generally doing it this way works faster than not, than doing it in a way that you're focused on yourself. Because remember, it goes right back to people aren't doing business with you because you want them to. They're doing business with you because they're going to be, they're going to benefit from it. Right?
Sure.
So that's like the person who says, well, this go-giver stuff is great after I have the money and I don't need to, but I need the money right now. I need to focus on just getting the money. Well, okay, so go into a sales presentation that way, focused on the money, not focused on bringing value to the other person. And what's going to happen? You're going to come across as someone who's too anxious, too attached. You're going to ask questions, but not really listen. When they have objections, you're going to probably be a little defensive because this guy's objections standing in the way of your money. You're going to be trying to close too quickly and too often. You're going to have what's called commission breath, right? And that person's probably not going to do business with you. Now, instead, you're the same person. You still need the money. You still have, but and I'm not telling you to deny your self-interest, but I am saying put your self-interest to the side because it's not serving you and it's not serving the other person, and focus on that person. Focus on discovering what they need, what they want, what they desire. Listen in order to understand and go deep and make sure you know exactly what this person is saying and what they need. When they have an objection, explore it with them so that you can get to the root cause in order to advance the process together. Only when you really understand everything that's going on in their mind do you connect the benefits of your product or service with what they want, need, or desire. And by the time you ask for the order, you're simply asking them to take action on something they have already said they want to do. And they're much more likely to do business with you more quickly. So generally speaking, the more value you provide to the more people, the faster you're going to start receiving the money. But you cannot be attached to any one specific result. Because the fact is, who knows? I can't promise someone that you do this and it's going to happen in, 2 weeks, 3 days, and 7 hours. Who knows? It's going to happen when it happens. But I'll just say that the more you're focused on providing value to others, the faster it actually ends up happening than if you're focused on yourself.
Boy, that is the perfect place to end it. I want to thank you so much for spending time with my viewers and listeners of the Alden Report. Folks, we've been on with Bob Burg. He is the co-author of The Go-Giver and the Go-Giver series. He's also the author of Endless Referrals. He also has his own podcast. We didn't spend a lot of time on his own podcast called The Go-Giver. If you'd like some more information about Bob, you can just go to Berg.com, B-U-R-G, pretty simple. You can learn all about what he's doing there and what he's done and what he continues to do for not only big corporations, but people all over the world. And, the things that he's been talking about here are the things that I've learned at a very early age, and they work. And sometimes they do take a little bit of time. And those results, you might not see them immediately like we're all looking for in this kind of, instant economy that we're living in. But they do, in fact, work. And I would just suggest to you to maybe give them a try, and you'll end up seeing the results that you're looking for. My name is Mike Alden. That's Bob Burg, and we'll see you soon. All right. Well, today's episode is brought to you by Be at Your Disposal Dumpster Rental Service. With over 20 plus years in the dumpster rental service industry, a family-owned business, a business that you can trust. If you're in Southern Maine, if you're in York County, if you're in Cumberland County and you need to rent a dumpster, maybe you've done some home repairs, maybe you've done, some home renovations, maybe you're a contractor, maybe you just got some junk and you want to rent a dumpster, reach out to the guys at Be at Your Disposal Dumpster Rental Service. Again, with over 20 plus years in the industry, they are a company that you can trust. Give them a call at 207-891-6012. That's 207-891-6012. Tell them Mike Alden sent you.